thought so. this blood magic, Dorian? Is it not popular in Tevinter?
While we're sharing surprises, you've done a lot less dancing naked in the moonlight than I expected.
Tevinter lore about elves remains accurate as always.
I wanted to see you make flowers bloom with your song, just once.
not us. Line there and there, no gaps. Remember how to carry your shields. You're not hiding, you're holding. Otherwise, it's useless.
Blackwall? Warden Blackwall?
You're not... How do you know my name? Who said... Ah! That's it. Help or get out. We're dealing with these idiots first. Conscripts, here they come! Sorry, bastards. Good work, conscripts. Even if this shouldn't have happened, they could have... Well, thieves are made, not born. Take back what they stole. Go back to your families. You saved yourselves. You're no farmer. Why do you know my name? Who are you?
I know your name because I'm an agent of the Inquisition. I'm investigating whether the disappearance of Wardens has anything to do with the murder of the Divine.
Maker's balls. The Wardens and the Divine. That can't... No, you're asking so you don't really know. First off, I didn't know they disappeared. But we do that, right? No more blight, job done. Wardens are the first thing forgotten. But one thing I'll tell you, no Warden killed the Divine. Our purpose isn't political.
I'm not here to accuse. Not yet. I just need information. I've only found you. Where are the rest?
I haven't seen any Wardens for months. I travel alone, recruiting. Not much interest because the Archdemon is a decade dead, and no need to conscript because there's no blight coming. Treaties give Wardens the right to take what we need, who we need. These idiots forced this fight, so I conscripted their victims. They had to do what I said, so I told them to stand. Next time, they won't need me. Grey Wardens can inspire. Make you better than you think you are.
Well, thank you, Warden Blackwall. But now where does this leave us?
Inquisition. Agent, did you say? Hold a moment. The Divine is dead and the sky is torn. Events like these, thinking we're absent is almost as bad as thinking we're involved. If you're trying to put things right, maybe you need a warden. Maybe you need me.
Warden Blackwall, the Inquisition accepts your offer.
Good to hear. We both need to know what's going on. And perhaps I've been keeping to myself for too long. This warden walks with the Inquisition.
Word for you.
What is it?
Could prove useful, sir.
You're not as handsome as you think, Dorian.
I must be. Or you wouldn't have been thinking about it all this time.
Anyone who claims it as often as you do must be dreadfully concerned they're not.
Look at this profile. Isn't it incredible? I picture it in marble.
Templars have secured a position ahead.
Refugees should be safer on the King's Road now.
The people here should leave the area. It's too dangerous.
Nothing to report, sir. Nothing to report, sir.
getting slaughtered over here! guess they weren't out here just to watch the pretty birds.
right. That last burst of flame nearly roasted us.
Solus, I take it you study spirits.
I do.
Back in my homeland, we keep spirits as servants.
So I have been told.
The things they can be made to do are quite marvelous. You should see them.
The Tevinter Imperium is not the safest place for an elf.
Ah, yes. Point taken.
And what are we supposed to do, exactly?
What you always do. Complain.
We've already spoken with Commander Cullen. No one listens. We want better quarters. We want the Templars kept at a distance. and some respect for...
This is not the Circle. You mages are our allies, not our wards. Act like it.
How are we supposed to...
Deal with it. It never ends, evidently.
Is there an issue with the mages? Can I help?
The mages are here as equals. They need to get used to what that means. It is your doing, after all. You created this alliance.
Well, I hope it works. What other choice do we have?
Oh. I do sound like I'm blaming you, don't I? I don't disapprove. In fact, you did well. You made a decision when it needed to be made. And here we are. I wish I could say this was my doing.
You're flattering me.
I'm not. This always happens. Nobody ever takes my meaning.
You should see your face.
I'm thinking less flattering things now. Let's hope the breach has your sense of humor.
The mages are ready to approach the breach. I pray this will be enough to close it.
I know you're worried about having the mages here. Give them a chance to prove themselves.
I'm not questioning their ability or their intentions, but we cannot ignore the risks. I will not endanger the alliance you've created. We need their help. Any precautions taken will be to ensure the safety of our people and the mages themselves. Nothing more.
I'd like to know more about the Templars.
What would you like to know?
Why did you join the Order?
I could think of no better calling than to protect those in need. I used to beg the Templars at our local chantry to teach me. At first, they merely humored me. I must have shown promise, or at least a willingness to learn. The Knight Captain spoke to my parents on my behalf. They agreed to send me for training. I was 13 when I left home.
13? That's still so young.
I wasn't the youngest there. Some children are promised to the Order at infancy. Still, I didn't take on full responsibilities until I was 18. The Order sees you trained and educated first.
And what about your family? Did you miss them?
Of course. But there were many my age who felt the same. We learned to look out for one another.
Do the Templars do anything besides hunt mages?
Templars protect against the dangers of magic. Before the Order left the Chantry, that meant serving in a circle. They were also tasked with tracking apostates, or fighting demons inevitably summoned by the weak or malicious.
You've made it clear that you consider mages a threat.
Any mage can be. I won't pretend otherwise. I've seen the suffering magic can inflict. I've treated mages with distrust because of it, at times without cause. That was unworthy of me. I will try not to do so here. Not that I want mages moving through our base completely unchecked. We need safeguards in place to protect people, including mages, from possession, at least.
What does Templar training involve?
There is weapon and combat training. Even without their abilities, Templars are among the best warriors in Thedas. Initiates must also memorize portions of the Chant of Light, study history, and improve their mental focus.
Did you enjoy your training?
I wanted to learn everything. If I was giving my life to this, I would be the best Templar I could.
You were a model student.
I wanted to be. I wasn't always successful. Watching a candle burn down while reciting the chant of transfigurations wasn't the most exciting task. And I admit, my mind sometimes wandered.
You've lived in the Circle. What was a typical day for a Templar there?
Typical. The last time I was in a circle was right before it fell apart. Nothing was typical.
Before that, then?
Certain rituals require a full guard. A mage's howling, for instance. I've attended a few. Most of the time, you merely maintain a presence, on patrol or in the circle, ready to respond if needed. Mages pretend to ignore that presence, but they're watching you just as closely.
Do Templars and mages never speak to each other?
Some do, but Templars are supposed to maintain a certain distance from their charges. If a mage is possessed or uses blood magic, you must act quickly, without hesitation. Your judgment cannot be clouded. Of course, ignoring one another does nothing to foster understanding.
Do Templars take vows? I swear to the Maker to watch all the mages. That sort of thing.
There's a vigil first. You're meant to be at peace during that time, but your life is about to change. When it's over, you give yourself to a life of service. That's when you're given a filter. Your first draft of Lyrium and its power. As Templars, we are not to seek wealth or acknowledgement. Our lives belong to the Maker and the path we have chosen.
A life of service and sacrifice. Are Templars also expected to give up physical temptations?
Physical? Why... why would you... That's not expected. Templars can marry, although there are rules around it, and the Order must grant permission. Some may choose to give up more to prove their devotion, but it's not required.
Have you?
Me? No. I've taken no such vows. Maker's breath. Can we speak of something else?
That's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Should you require anything, I'll be here.
So if we get better horses, you think that'll make a difference?
Maker, look at it. So much easier to ignore when it's far away. And to actually walk out of it. To be that close.
If I hadn't been saved by the Inquisition soldiers, I don't know what would have happened.
Inquisition soldiers? That's not what I've heard. I have to admit, I thought you'd be...
Human?
Yes.
Being up front is better than knife fear.
It was a foolish thought. Should have known better than to say anything. It's what you do and how you do it that's important. Just one question then. How do you think you fit in with all this?
I just want to help stop the war. Try to put things back in order.
A worthy goal, one I'm happy to support. For me, I'll be satisfied so long as we find the bastards that killed the Divine. They owe us some answers. I've heard rumors of abandoned warden camps all over these parts. If we have time, I'd like to take a look. See if there's anything we can salvage.
You're oddly charming for a man I found wandering the forest.
I always thought myself more odd than charming. But I'll take a compliment from a lady. They're hard to come by these days.
I also find your modesty endearing.
And the praise keeps coming. So, is there something large and heavy you need moved?
Manual labor in exchange for compliments. Useful.
Well, I act to please. I have to say, my lady, you're unlike any woman I've ever met. I'm flattered you'd spend any time with me. I enjoy your company.
Let's talk about the Grey Wardens. You must know a lot about them.
The Wardens. I'm afraid we're less exciting than we seem.
The Blight's been over for 10 years. What do Wardens do when the world's not ending?
There are still Darkspawn. Just because we killed so many in Ferelden doesn't mean they're gone. And the world is not so peaceful that there's no use for good men with swords. Sometimes you have to figure out for yourself what the pledge to protect others really means. It's not always about just archdemons and blights.
Where were you during the Blight?
I was in Ferelden, on my own like always. Quietly killed my fair share of Darkspawn too.
You haven't had contact with other Wardens for a while. Why were you on your own?
It's what I've always done. Recruitment only requires one man. Besides, I've always been a loner. Works best for everyone that way.
So you have no idea where the rest of the Wardens are?
Do you find that odd? The Blight is over. We don't need an organized force. And orders don't change much from day to day. For the last 1,000 years or so, it's been just find Darkspawn, kill them, repeat as necessary.
Let's continue this at another time.
As you wish. I'll be here if you need me.
Magic exists to serve
Travel
man
safely.
and never to rule over him. Foul and corrupt
A scout in the hinterland saw the Herald of Andraste. Said she sealed the rift.
The Mage Rebellion joins the Inquisition. I've got to admit that's a twist I didn't see coming. One thing you saw in the future worries me. I mean, it was all bad. But red lyrium in Ferelden, infecting people and growing out of them, that's bad. Finding more of it really punches a hole in my red lyrium at the temple was a coincidence theory.
How long does it take for red lyrium to grow? How fast can it spread?
It took years to infect people in Kirkwall, but no one there was actually ingesting the stuff. This Elder One managed to take the worst thing I can think of and make it worse. That's an accomplishment.
The Inquisition has the numbers to track down all this lyrium and destroy it.
I hope so. I don't want to think about what happens if it starts a plague. I've got people trying to find out where the red stuff came from. I think maybe we should make that a priority. But that's enough doom and gloom. You just won a big victory for the Inquisition. What are you going to do to celebrate?
We can't know what's coming. Best not to get too comfortable.
I can't disagree with that. but maybe you should try to relax while you can. Things should be calm around here for at least the next hour. Take a moment to enjoy it. If the world's about to end, I'm sure the Seeker will let us know.
Well, that's mages all over. So many robes, I bet all of Ferelden lost their curtains. I'll just be the other side of Havens, just in case.
These mages are here to aid the Inquisition. Don't worry.
Sure, don't worry. Magic up there, magic down here. What's to worry about? I mean, yay, freedom. Great for them. Over there, away from me.
Is the Inquisition what you thought it would be?
Well, you're dragging people together, suppose that's something. Gonna need more trebuchets if you're going after the sky. Or, you know, ladders.
What do you think about the people who have gathered?
Again with your people? Right, which ones?
What about Dorians?
It's fun. Could lose a bit more to Vinta.
Any thoughts about Warden Blackwall?
He's too good, right? Like to see him out of that uniform. Not like that.
We'll talk later.
Good, right? I'll be here.
Mages. Lovely.
They should have this brief.
Reports of fade rifts and demons keep coming. The people are terrified, and it's only getting worse. The only thing that will calm their fears now is the hope that someone out there can save them. You have to be that someone. No one else has any power over the rifts. Seal them. Your legend will spread, and Thedas will learn to trust the Inquisition.
In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here.
Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble.
And I would do it again.
Why do you want me to seek out the rebel mages? Why do you care?
I've known mages. Some of them were better people than me. And yet I'm free and they're not. It's not right.
Anything I should know?
Altegan has returned to Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as Lord. The people are returning, slowly but surely. Unfortunately, our show of support for the mages has angered many.
Let's talk about you.
Me?
Bards tell tales. I bet you tell some good ones.
There are plenty of tales in the library. Perhaps you should look for them there.
What did you do before you worked for the Divine?
I trained to be a spy from a young age. Learned from the best. For a while, I was wildly happy. I loved the thrill of that life, the danger. But nothing lasts forever. I went into hiding, and when I emerged, the Divine called on me. She presented me with my own network of spies, and said I was the only one she could trust.
You seem to know a great many people.
I have made friends, and on occasion enemies. It's unavoidable.
You seem to know Josephine quite well.
I met her a long time ago, but we didn't become good friends until years later. After the Blight, in fact. I'd just returned to Val Rayo, and she welcomed me back by throwing a diplomatic ball. She was the Antivan ambassador at the time, you see. The ball was... all right. Too many politicians. At midnight, Josie and I left to find a real party. We've been friends ever since.
What do you consider a real party?
It's not a real party until someone's small clothes are pinned to a chantry board. And that's all I'm saying about it.
You have a history with the warden who entered the Blight, don't you?
I had the privilege of calling her friend before she died. The world seemed much duller after that. It still does.
We can continue this conversation later.
You know where I am.
Magic exists to serve man and never to rule over him.
So we have gained the mages. Excellent. They should be able to seal the breach. You are certain you experienced time travel? Could it have been an illusion? A trick of the Fade?
Dorian was sure, impossible as it seems.
What an amazing gift. It is vital the Inquisition succeed to avoid the future you witnessed.
Most people have trouble wrapping their heads around the idea.
I'm not most people.
I appreciate you talking with me about it, and not being most people.
If you wish me to speak of Elysian fashion, I may be at a loss. Magical surprises I can handle. Speaking of which, you should ready yourself.
For?
This Elder One. You have now interfered with his plans twice. Once at the Temple of Sacred Ashes, and now again at Redcliffe. A being who aspires to godhood is unlikely to ignore such an affront.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Halamsharal? Cows milking farmers?
I take it you don't agree.
On the contrary, I approve. Heartily. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to, well, be like mages back home.
If that means they're anything like you, I approve.
Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me.
I'd believe that.
I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic, then?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities. Believe me.
Of course you are. You're a discerning and intelligent woman, after all. Now, what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me. I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming, the illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see?
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families of Tevinter don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems... So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply. About everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to Tevinter?
I'm not exactly welcome back home. Not that it matters, I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here. If the Venatori succeed, it'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why we kill them.
I think I've heard enough.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. It's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister, depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later. Lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
I thought the Archon ruled over the Imperium.
Well, yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new Magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor. Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically. The potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you something else.
Of course.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power, to put it bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise, and then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah. That is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
You think slaves like it that way? Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
At least they're free. They don't have slavery forced on them.
You think people choose to be poor and oppressed? I doubt it. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face. Like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true Divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah, blah, blah. We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst throne. Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the South. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents. I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you, whether through Andraste or fate. Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering hen tell you how to live, then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means. The world is bigger than I, even bigger than you. It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium. Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circles are in command.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce their magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Let me ask you something else.
So many questions.
That's all I wanted to know.
Fair enough.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him before they locked him up. He looked despondent, broken. Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to. I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew.
Seems to be a good man.
He'll be an asset if we have to fight Darkspawn, at least.
Can I get you anything?
You said Liliana asked you to run an Inquisition tavern. How did you meet?
Dumb luck, mainly. I managed an inn back in Denner Inn. When I heard interesting gossip, I passed word to Liliana. Sometimes it was helpful. She asked if I wanted to own my own tavern, and I said yes. I didn't realize she meant this.
What can you tell me about this area?
Adarn is Haven's apothecary. He's been making potions and tending to the wounded as best he can. Harrit is the Inquisition smith. Whatever he can make you, Thren the quartermaster can probably find. And for anything fancier, you can try buying from Segrit. His prices aren't too high. Yet. Oh, there's also Minave. She studies beasts and things, as I understand.
Farewell.
Goodbye. I'm used to delivering children and helping old men. The Inquisition appreciates your assistance in this matter, Lady Corbin.
And my miners appreciate your business. You'll have your lyrium by the end of the week. I should tell you, Ambassador, the Chantry raised some fuss when they learned about our arrangement.
The Inquisition must certainly seem an audacious idea to the Grand Clerics. We hope to convince them it is a necessary one as well.
I'll take my leave. Good day.
Who is she, Ambassador?
A merchant. I thought we should reach out to the dwarves to secure lyrium for the Inquisition's mages. According to Lady Corbin, it raised the ire of the Chantry.
How?
Access to lyrium makes us rather more formidable than anticipated. We are becoming a challenge. Sadly, the remaining Grand Clerics appear to be consolidating the Chantry's power, instead of comforting the masses.
The Chantry should be a place of hope, not another group scrambling for answers.
That must be its strength again. The Chants did much to bridge nations. Little but the Chantry ties Orlais, Nevarra, Ferelden, Antiva, and even Rivain to a common cause.
Has the Chantry truly promoted such peace?
Andraste's chant is familiar across kingdoms, a source of many shared customs. That is the crucial point. Common ground is the start of all negotiations.
I suppose a shared faith can be useful when talking with strangers.
Precisely. And these similar interests are merely where we begin. We must learn to think beyond our own wants to secure peace in Thedas.
How did someone so lovely and selfless go into Orlesian politics, Lady Montelier?
Well, that is, really, you give me too much credit. While you're here, I do have a question. The remaining Grand Clerics sent a missive inquiring about the events at the Temple of Sacred Ashes. They demand to know whether the Inquisition officially claims that Andraste saved you from the breach. If it were up to you, how would you reply?
Will my answer change your reply to the Chantry?
If Leliana, Cassandra Cullen, and I could agree on our official stance, I could answer that. We should decide soon. The revered mothers don't seem to know what to make of you.
I'd tell the Chantry that Andraste herself shielded me from harm.
I'd truly like to hear the debates that would raise in Val Royeaux. Thank you for your thoughts. A good day to you.
We can use that. Please tell me if you find something. If you find anything, please bring it in.
Greetings.
What exactly does your job entail?
I meet with ambassadors from various factions and countries, and cement alliances with them. We are a young cause. Diplomacy is essential to our credibility.
Then you speak for the Inquisition with these nobles?
I do. Someone must foster goodwill on our behalf, as well as prevent controversy as news of us spreads.
How heavily are our actions scrutinized?
Make no mistake. Every noble house, every throne, is waiting to see what the Inquisition does next. Many are willing to pledge support, if offers are made in just the right fashion. I intend to see that they are.
What do the people make of us?
We've gathered many favors among the nobility. They will be gently reminded of this.
Any visiting dignitaries I should watch out for?
Lady Drummond promised a visit. She has useful resources if we can get her to set aside her games.
What are her politics?
Oh, no, I meant actual games. Chess, cards, dice, little boards with carved idols from Tevinter. She made me play that with her for 8 hours once. Steer her towards cards, if she insists on a match. And I shall embrace you. In my arms lies eternity.
I understand you were instrumental in garnering the assistance of the rebel mages. It is well done. And I pray this Inquisition fares better than the Chantry in its handling of magic.
We will try.
In some ways, Andraste had the simpler task. Magic should serve man, and not rule over him. That tells us what should be, but it does not tell us how to get there. So many times the methods of men have undone the spirit of their goals. Once you have sealed the breach, we shall see whether this Inquisition is truer to the Chantry, or its own namesake.
Can you tell me how our people are doing?
What would you like to know?
What are you doing to help these people?
My sisters and I have been tending to the injured as best we are able. Some refugees come with food, while others arrive empty-handed. I have helped ensure that all have enough to eat. Beyond that, many simply wish the familiar comfort of the Chant of Light. It is little enough work to offer some comfort to those in pain.
Do you have information on people elsewhere?
The refugees in the hinterlands are desperate. Without help, starvation or war will claim many lives. Villagers in Crestwood are besieged by their own dead. They have sent word begging for assistance. People are vanishing in the hills of Emprise de Lyon. It may be demons or something worse, but they are terrified. More than that I cannot say. It is a chaotic time for all in Olay and Ferelden.
How are the villagers in Haven doing?
You did well to gain the mages to your cause. The people have hope that the breach may be sealed. Some of them are returning to the lives they fled. Others are starting fresh. In either case, they no longer believe the world as they know it is ending.
Farewell.
Make her go with you.
The apothecary would like to know why you need so
brought
much
back some
death ray.
fascinating things. We're putting them to good use.
You said you were a mage?
No, just an apprentice. I was never very good at magic. I've got just enough talent to be a danger to other people. But when the mages rebelled, people like me had nowhere to go. The Templars would have killed us. Luckily, Seeker Pentagast took me in, along with the Tranquil I was protecting.
You said that you were keeping some of the Tranquil safe?
Yes. The mages took some of them when my circle rebelled, but the rest were forgotten. Most circle mages look down on the Tranquil, or try to pretend they don't exist. They don't have any emotions. They can barely take care of themselves, can't defend themselves at all. It's a shame. I like them better than most people.
I'm glad they have someone who cares about them.
They deserve better. They're polite, they're rational, and they'll never get angry at you. When they study, they have a focus no normal person could ever match. But the Templars, even some of the mages, mistreated them just because they could. The Tranquil never fought back. If not for that, I don't know. Doesn't really matter now.
I'm surprised that even an apprentice mage wouldn't join the rebellion.
I don't like using magic to fight. I'm not good at it either. I like studying. I like performing rituals that helped us unlock the secrets of the Veil. I liked having the Templars around to keep us safe.
You might have done well among the Dalish. Our mages are encouraged to study safely.
Fenrir will take the Dalish. Don't let my lack of Vanisleen fool you, Lethleen. I was a proud member of my clan until my magic manifested. You know what happens when they have too many mages. They gave me a pack and sent me into the woods to find my own life. I was 7 years old.
I'm so sorry.
I stumbled into a village, starving and cold, a few weeks later. I started using magic to scare predators away. The villagers saw me make fire in my fist. They were terrified and wanted to kill me. Templars saved me from them. They gave me food and clothes and took me to the Circle. I've seen what life is like without the Templars, and I want no part of it. I just want to study.
You said Cassandra has you researching creatures.
Yes. If you find anything interesting in your travels, I'd appreciate you bringing it to me. I may be able to find some weakness our soldiers can exploit when fighting various creatures. At the least, some materials are useful for making potions or gear for the Inquisition.
Why did you decide to research dangerous creatures?
I like the outdoors. The idea of the outdoors, anyway. When some monster is coming at you, glowing eyes and burning claws, it's terrifying. But once you know how it works, you can deal with it. It's just another part of the world. So much of this world is only frightening because we don't understand it.
I'll speak with you later.
Thank you again for what you've brought back.
A learned child is a blessing upon his parents and onto the Maker.